A scary report is out saying that a group of Russian nationals suspected of having ties to ISIS have been arrested in a coordinated sting spanning from the largest cities here in the States, New York, Philadelphia, and even Los Angeles.
8 men from Tajikistan with alleged ties to ISIS, again, arrested in these major U.S. cities, all of them coming through the U.S. southern border. FBI Director Christopher Wray had been sounding the alarm about possible terrorists coming across our border for months, as recently as June 4th. Take a listen.
You know, there is a particular network that has where some of the overseas facilitators of the smuggling network have ISIS ties that we're very concerned about and that we've been spending an enormous amount of effort with our partners investigating. Increasingly concerning is the potential for a coordinated attack here in the homeland, akin to the ISIS-K attack we saw at the Russia concert hall just a couple weeks ago. I would be hard-pressed to think of a time when so many different threats to our public safety and national security were so elevated all at the same time.
So here you've got the FBI director again waving the flag, throwing warnings here. Still, yet this somehow happened. Joining us now to discuss is Derek Maltz, former director of special operations for the DEA. We have Charles Marino, a former DHS senior advisor, also the author of Terrorists on the Border and in Our Country, appropriate for right now. So, Charles, we'll start with you. The suspects were on the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force radar. They were arrested by ICE, but according to the reports, and here's the kicker, they entered the United States in 2023, and one even reportedly using the CBP app to enter, but they were all fully vetted, and nothing was flagged. Charles, how does that happen?
Yeah, well, in this particular situation, the result of Biden's inept policies is a chaotic and rushed process that's exposed our Achilles heel when it comes to vetting. Look, the vetting is only going to be as good as the systems we're vetting against. And the truth is, many of these countries of origin just do not maintain or have systems that keep track of the histories of their population, especially when it comes to terrorism and crime. Or they're adversarial countries like China and Iran that just don't share information with us. So this has exposed a significant weakness. This is the president's fault because he's putting CBP and ICE and other agencies at a complete disadvantage, like all of his policies have done the past 3.5 years. And the country's a more dangerous place because of it.
Thank goodness. Again, ICE was able to locate these individuals and place them under arrest, because this is quite concerning about what could happen next. The numbers are very telling, by the way. The number of terror watch list encounters at our southern border from 2017 to 2020, less than 10 total encounters there. But then you look on screen right, 2021 through 24, you've got hundreds encountered here. Derek, talk to me about what's changed since then and why people might feel more emboldened to make a crossing now.
Okay, so great question. Number one, what's changed is this current administration reversed all the policies that actually worked at the border. And again, the government's supposed to implement policies to keep all Americans safe. Right now, we just have, like Charles said perfectly, we have chaos for the Border Patrol, and we cannot properly vet these individuals from around the world. But you know what? As Director Wray has said that the lights are all blinking red, I have a little chart that I've been using, the old Homeland Security Alert chart. We're at red. We're at severe red. This is what we implemented after 9/11. So we are all at risk. Look what they did in Moscow with 100 dead people in March, right? There's a radicalization movement, and people want revenge on America. So all Americans have to wake up. But to be honest, what really upsets me is the FBI director and other former and active Homeland Security officials are warning this president that this is not good. Like, how many more warnings do you need before the boom goes? This is what I got from James Stavridis, the former head of Southcom in the U.S. military. That's what happens when radical terrorists, Islamic terrorists, and narco-terrorists come together. That's not a pretty picture, but that's the picture that we're facing here in America, and we don't have the support from the White House. And right now, because of the politics and the election, they talk a big game, but there's no substance.
Charles, perhaps you'd like to
Yeah.
react to that.
Yeah, no, look, Derek's exactly right to especially point to the current threat level here in the United States. But you know what's interesting, it's actually sad, is that many times when the director of the FBI is saying how high the threat level here is in the country, he's sitting right next to the Secretary of DHS who's telling Congress there's nothing to see here, everything's fine. And as far as the threat alert system that we use now, the National Terrorism Advisory System, they haven't used it. And the reason why they haven't used it is because they've politicized it. Because if they issue a threat bulletin, they're going to have to point to the border crisis as the cause, and they're going to point the dirty end of the stick at themselves. And it's all tied to the election.
Wow. We saw that executive order come down, and yet numbers really have not changed, at least from Border Patrol agents we've spoken to on the program since then. Derek Maltz and Charles Marino, guys, thanks so much for coming on. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank
You too. Thank you.
Thanks.
We brought you this breaking news earlier. The High Court striking down a